Still working.
The sound is still, hopefully still working. Okay. So this is definitely going to be a bit more chaotic than the previous talks. I've done hands-on demos for this dozens of times, so I'm not too worried, but I will be making mistakes along the way, probably. I do have a couple of slides just to kick it off a bit, and I do hope that people actually get their hands dirty and playing that VM for at least the coming hour, but also this afternoon. And if you can't sleep tonight, the VM will still be there if you want to play around with it. If you ever get to the point, let's say, where you're back at the office, you want to do this again, just shout in the Easy Slack, we'll give you a fresh VM to play with. So we're getting credits from AWS and Azure for doing this, so you can easily give you a VM for a couple of hours, a couple of days, if need be, if you want to play with something. So for this session, we'll focus on two things: how to get access to Easy and using Easy. So I'll do some hands-on demoing of that. This afternoon, there's a Beyond the Basics session, which is even less prepared. There we can go into some more some more advanced stuff like the Easy Test Suite or playing with GPUs and showing what we had to do to get that working. So to get access to Easy, the recommended way is definitely to install and configure CernVMFS. So that's what we call a native installation. I'll show the instructions that are in the documentation as well. You can, at least for a single VM, you can literally copy paste a block of commands. It's like 4 or 5 commands. You run that, you wait for 2 minutes, CernVMFS is installed and configured, and you have access to Easy. That's definitely the recommended way. For a single VM, that's very easy to do. If you want to make Easy or any CernVMFS repository available on a cluster, so on a bigger scale, then there's a bit more homework to do. And then you should definitely take a look at the tutorial that Lara mentioned, which gives in-depth instructions on configuring the clients, like I will do for a single VM, but also configuring a mirror server in your network so things are fast. And even if you lose connection to the outside world, the software will not disappear and so on. We're definitely not going to go into that today, but you can check that 3-hour tutorial that we did, which was recorded and which was very well documented. I actually show 2 other ways of accessing Easy as well, through a container. So using the Apptainer container runtime that most people have on their HPC cluster. And this you can do as a regular user. You don't need any admin access, no configuration. We basically give you a container image that has CVMFS inside of it. And with some special options, when you're launching the container, you can get access to Easy in that container environment as well. For single node, that's good enough. Multi-node is a bit more tricky. But even you can get that to work with a bit of extra effort. And then another very interesting option is CVMFS exec, which is a tool that is being contributed or being developed under the flag of the CVMFS project itself. I'll give it a try on the Meluxina system in Luxembourg, your HPC system, because that's where I tried it before. It's an interesting place to try it. I'll show you why that is. I'm not actually 100% sure it will still work because it relies on user namespaces, a kernel feature. And with the whole XZ security issue that happened recently, a lot of people disabled that on their system. So I expect actually Meluxina did that too, but let's just see what happens. This tool just basically tries a whole bunch of options. Containers is one, user namespaces is another, and it just keeps trying until eventually it gives up and says, yeah, there's nothing I can do. You'll have to use containers or do a native installation. Whatever you do, if you want to check if you have access to Easy already, you just ls/cvmfs/software.easy.io. If that comes up with an answer, what's in there, then you have access, and that's all. That's all you need to check for. I'll show that hands-on. I'll run through the slides first. Once you have access, as Lara also showed, we give you a script that you can initialize. It's a bit hidden, so you have to know where it is. But you source the script for a particular version of Easy that sets up your environment to start using Easy. It will essentially detect what type of CPU you have. So in this case, we're on an AMD Rome system. So it picks the AMD Zen 2 part of the software stack. It shoves that into your module path. So here it says using this long, ugly path as the location for modules. So if you do module avail, it will take that into account. It finds an LMOD configuration file as well. And then it says, oh, you're all set to go. And you will see your PS1 change as well. So you know your session is initialized for Easy. And then you can start playing. We have a demo repository as well, which you can clone. We have example scripts in there for a couple of software packages. One of them is TensorFlow. We give you a script that you can run, which essentially only does a modulo TensorFlow and then runs a Python script that uses TensorFlow. And after waiting for a couple of seconds, because CVMFS will pull in that software on the fly as you start running it, you will see output like this that shows you that TensorFlow is really running. So whatever Linux system you try this on, whether it's Intel or AMD or ARM, and all the VMs you have access to are actually ARM systems. Maybe you won't notice. That's a good thing because it should work the exact same way. You'll actually be running TensorFlow on ARM without really knowing. Yeah, and that's the acknowledgement slide. So let's see how quickly I can get things wrong here. The first thing I'll actually try, I won't do the native installation first. That's the recommended one. But I want to try the others first, just otherwise it's a bit cheating that I already have it. So yeah, they will be available in the EUM website. All slides will be linked from there as PDFs, and the link to the recording as well. So here I'm in the VM, the same as you are in. There's no CVMFS here yet. There's no Obtainer yet. There's not even Vim yet, so I'm not sure how you can survive on this thing, but okay. So let me do the, sorry? Ed is, no, there's no, it's pretty bare bones. So I'll start, you have sudo rights on these VMs, so you can install whatever you want. The first thing I'll install is, of course, Vim. What else? Because I will definitely shoot myself in the foot. It's actually a RHEL 9 operating system here, so it's pretty modern. So this should work. All right, I'll install Obtainer as well, which I hope is just there. Right. I need Apple, I guess. Yeah, see, I told you I was well prepared. Right, let's look this up. I'll just grab the RPM from here for ARM. So remember, you're on an ARM system. Obtainer must be in here somewhere. All right. And, it's fake root. Okay. Oh, come on. If it takes me too long, I'll just jump to another system where I can show it with Obtainer, but yeah, okay, this is going to be too painful. All right. So if you can figure out how to install Obtainer on that VM, you can play around with it. I'll do it here on our cluster in Ghent instead, where I don't have a session anymore, but I'll quickly create one. So here now I'm just a regular user. I don't have sudo here, but we do have Obtainer pre-installed. I can quickly get access to this, I hope, if I am on the right cluster. All right, so here I do have Obtainer. Once I get my shell available. All right, now I have to peek into the documentation. I think we still have a section on the pilot repo, which big fat warning, don't use this anymore. So the pilot repo is our old repository where we played around a lot. But I know this has instructions on how to get access to EasyBuild through Obtainer or through Singularity. It's a bit long, but it shows you all the steps. We actually have a script as well. If you check the access section, it has a script on accessing it through the Easy container. where we give you a script, and if you just run this script, it'll work, but it hides everything. So maybe you can try this in the hands-on. What I will try is the old mechanism where you have to copy paste a lot of stuff. Where was it again? Pilot repo here. So what we in the end are going to do is singularity or obtain. That doesn't really matter. We're going to start an interactive shell, and the key part is that you fuse mount. You use the fuse mount option to mount the EasyBuild repository as the container is being started. So that's the key mechanism here. That's also why you need singularity or obtainer. With Docker, this doesn't work, at least not that easily as it does here. And the container image that we'll be using is this one, which I actually have to check if it's still there. I think it is. Let's see what happens. Okay. Now, before you actually run this command, there's a couple of things you have to prepare. It needs a bunch of directories and /temp. So we pre-create those, or Singularity will be very unhappy. It needs 3 things: a location where CVMFS can put the cache, which is, I think, in var lib CVMFS. So it needs write access to that. It needs var run CVMFS as well for other things. I don't remember the details here. And we're also going to make sure we have a blank home directory. So we make an empty directory in here. So for each of these things, we then, so we bind mount that location to var run CVMFS in the container. And we bind mount the other temporary directory to var lib CVMFS in the container. So those will be writable. And then we also make sure we have a blank home directory by setting Singularity home as well. So I'll just copy paste these to configure certain VMFS, to configure Singularity or Obtainer. And then here, this is the key part. Here we tell, or we set an environment variable rather to tell Obtainer what to fuse mount. And I'm going to change this a little bit. Let's see if it actually works. So rather than using the pilot, I'm going to use the production easy software repository. Software.easy.io. That's the one we want to get access to. We need to make sure that matches here. So we tell CVMFS what it should mount and in which location it should mount it. And then that's just being passed here to the fuse mount option. So we do this. We have the container actually not on Docker Hub. No, we use the Docker protocol. So Obtainer will convert this. And here, I also want to make sure I don't mess this up. So let me quickly check the file system layer. So those images or those containers are available here. So we say, as Pedro mentioned, we have a build container. So we isolate, when we're doing builds with EasyBuild for Easy, it's in an isolated environment through a build node container. We still have our client pilot container, but I'm going to use the other one, just the client one, because I suspect that will actually give me access to an easy repository, and it's not happy with that. It needs the CentOS 7 as well. Yeah, so this is a CentOS 7 container, pretty old. But that's a detail you don't really care too much, I think, what kind of operating system this has. Singularity is pulling that in. It's doing some magic to start the container. You may see warnings, but these are, it says harmless warning. Then why make it a warning? I'm not sure. Obtainer is doing the conversion from that Docker container into Obtainer. And then remember, you can do this as a regular user. You don't need anything special. As long as Obtainer is installed, this should work. Of course, and then it doesn't. That's interesting. Okay, I'm not sure what's wrong. This should work. Let's try the other option, which is our script, because I know we got things right in there. Getting access to easy through a container. This is actually a lot easier. You clone. Let me do it in here. You clone our easy software layer repo. You go in there, and then you run the easy container script. Yeah, and this is using a different container, so this is probably going to work. And the background, this is essentially doing the same thing. So it's configuring Singularity, it's bind mounting paths that should be writable in the container environment, and then it's starting, I think it's actually going to tell us what it's using when it's actually starting the image. It's using the fuse mount option to mount the easy CernVMFS repository as it starts the container.
The Singularity need to be installed?
Yeah, you need Singularity on the host. Yeah, so that needs to be installed. If you want to install Singularity, you can, with sudo, you can easily install it if you know which packages you need, or if you have the right repositories configured. You can actually build it from source as well, pretty easily, just as a regular user. It's a Go thing, so it takes a little bit of time. We've done this on RISC-V. You can easily build Aptainer on the RISC-V development board and get access to EasyBuild that way. That's one option. Another option is to build CernVMFS from source on RISC-V and get access to that as well.
Singularity or Aptainer?
Sorry?
Are you talking Singularity or Aptainer?
Actually, it doesn't matter. They both support the fuse mount option. But
to build Aptainer correctly, you need to follow their instructions properly and add the squash FSL and stuff.
Yeah. But we've done it definitely for RISC-V. If it works for RISC-V, it's going to work for other stuff as well. This is taking its sweet time. I'm not sure why. It's not a very big container image because it only includes an OS and CernVMFS itself. So it's something on our system that's quite slow currently. Okay, let's get back to that later. Let me see if I can show the CVMFS exec option first. So this is this tool here, which is available on GitHub under the CVMFS organization. It's a tool that essentially installs CernVMFS, and install is a big word, in a regular user directory. It literally downloads an RPM, unpacks the RPM, then does some magic, and it tries a whole bunch of options to try and mount that repository. Now, like I said, it's been a while since I tried this, but I have it in my history here on Meluxina, so I'll just move the old attempt. All right, I'll reclone the repository. Really show I'm starting from scratch. Here, to somehow bootstrap CernVMFS exec, I have to run a make dist command that it gives it to me. And you can see it's pulling down the CVMFS RPM here and then unpacking that. And then it says, okay, I'm done. And now, let's see. Yeah, then you run this command. So where you're running the CVMFS exec script, you're telling it, give me access to this, and it figures out everything that it needs to figure out. So let's see if this actually works. All right, so it tries a bunch of things. It's loading fuse modules. God knows what it's doing in the background, but I now have access to Easy in here. So as a regular user, this is very, very easy to do. Now what's a bit funny on Meluxina is, let me log out and go back. So on their login nodes, they don't like people running stuff on the login nodes like we all do. They don't give you a module system. They don't give you Aptainer. But I don't really care because I can easily get access to Easy, and then I have all the modules I want, and I can run stuff on the login node. Just, I know I have to, if I source the Easy environment first, so it will do the detection, and then it will take lmod from Easy, and I have all the modules I want. I did this in a meeting with the Meluxina team in the last 5 minutes, and they said, yeah, our login nodes don't have anything. I said, let me try something. And they were like, oh, shit, okay. And it works as well, so I can clone. Let's see if I have the demo. So I can clone the Easy demo repository, go to the TensorFlow example, show you what that is. And that's literally, okay, this looks a bit messy because we have this for different versions, but it really does a modulo TensorFlow if your environment is prepared for that particular Easy version. And then it runs a Python script that uses TensorFlow. If I run this, it like, come on, but now CVMFS is downloading all the files it needs to run TensorFlow, and actually kickstart that script. So this takes a couple of seconds. In this case, it's going to be a bit slow because it's downloading the files to my home directory on Meluxina. So I may get an email from the admins like, what the hell are you doing? But in the end, it will start running TensorFlow just fine. And it's the same user experience, whether you're on, in this case, an AMD Rome system or an ARM system, or it doesn't really matter. You can get the exact same workflow going. Yeah, if I go back to the container here, it now has the same thing. So I can source the script here as well. So this is the one running with Aptainer. You can source it here. Apparently, this is a Skylake node. And once it completes, I'll see all those software installed as well. OpenFOAM, I think we have PyTorch as well, we have Espresso, a whole bunch of things. So sometimes initially this can be a bit slow because CVMFS has to pull in things first into its cache, but once it's there, so here on Meluxina, it's running TensorFlow on a login node, so somebody's getting pissed now. And here, I don't know why this is slow, so we have other people on these systems. So our system in Ghent is having some issues, it seems. All right, so that's two ways. That was using a container, using CVMFS exec as a regular mortal can do. But if you're a sysadmin, or if you have sudo rights, you can do a native installation. That's definitely the one that's recommended. That will give you the best user experience. So once you have it installed and configured, which is literally only executing these commands, which is installing CVMFS, installing a configuration file for CVMFS that tells it about EasyBuild, doing very minimal configuration for the client, the CVMFS client, where the important line is this one, which says you can only use 10 gigabytes of disk space for your cache. That's it. That's basically what it does. And then you complete the setup. So if you try this in the VM you have access to, you can just copy paste this, and this should work because I did test at least that part. Yeah, meanwhile, in the container, you can see it has access to the modules here. Next to the ones that we also have on the system. So that also works. So here, this should only take a couple of minutes. You can see we're running on ARM here. So this is completing the CVMFS installation, which does pull in a bunch of dependencies, of course. Then it does the configuration file that tells it about EasyBuild. It completes. And now also here, and again, the exact same user experience. The EasyBuild repository is there. If you try doing tab completion on this, it will not work because it's not really mounted yet. So it triggers an auto mount as soon as you poke it. But if you do the exact same thing as I did on the other two systems, just source that init script that we have. Here it will detect, oh, it seems like you're on an ARM Neoverse N1 CPU, or at least something that's compatible with that. That works. And also here you have access to all that software, which is available through EasyBuild. So all these modules are available. You can load them and start using them. And also here for the demos, all demos are broken. That's why I'm showing the TensorFlow one. No, the demo scripts need a bit of work. So there's nothing broken about EasyBuild itself, but like one thing we definitely still have missing in EasyBuild currently is GROMACS, which sounds easy to install, but we figured that on one of the ARM CPU targets we have, one of the GROMACS tests is failing. So we're in touch with the GROMACS developers and we're asking them, like, what is going on? Is the GROMACS test suite like half broken? Is this normal? They said, no, absolutely not. If something's broken in the test suite, it's a red flag and you have to be careful. So that really makes us stop there and try to figure it out first. But same script here, like I was running on the other one, this just also works after waiting for a couple of seconds until CernVMFS has downloaded everything. So from a user point of view, whatever system you're logged into, if EasyBuild is already there, you get the exact same workflow, and that's what we're really going for. Yeah. Take the mic if you have questions.
Is there a reason why you search for OpenFOAM, but they only show the foundation OpenFOAM, not the ESSI version?
You mean here? That's because we haven't installed the other one yet.
Okay, there is no reason for that. Other
Not
than
really. No.
Okay, cool.
So if you want to make a pull request to get software and easy, that's a good one. I mean, we have with this tool chain, we have the V22, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Already installed. Okay, it's going to take a while for it to build. But that should be a relatively easy one to add because all the dependencies are already there. And yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's just because nobody has needed. I mean, the demo script that we have uses this variant of OpenFOAM, not the other one.
Yeah.
But EasyBuild supports both. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, when it runs. So if you run it again, the second time it could be a bit faster. So here it took like 35 seconds. The second time everything is cached already, and it should be a little bit faster because you're not having that startup delay when running TensorFlow. So maybe you can give this a try yourself. We at least have 45 minutes, so you can poke around a bit in the VM. See if that works for you. Feel free to try it on your own system as well. Apptainer using that easy container script, that should be relatively easy. So there's no configuration, you just clone the repo and you try it. Or CVMFS exec very often works as well. Not always, but
I never use CVMS. Maybe I recommend to put a note to list the directory because I was expecting to appear, but it doesn't appear until I made a LES.
so I mean, if you do ls like this,
Exactly.
yeah, so you may not see it here. Yeah, that's true. We still have the pilot repository available. So if you poke it, it'll mount it, and then next time you will see it popping up there. So it's auto-mounting the repositories. It's a bit maybe counterintuitive, like why is CVMFS not showing everything it has? But you should think it's very similar to the internet. Everything is HTTP based, and there's not like an overview of all the websites out there in the world. You have to know the URL. If you go to the URL, then it works. It's very similar to that. So you just poke it in the right way, and then it mounts stuff and it gives you access.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, only a single version available for the IO repository, right?
There's only a single version of Easy and software Easy IO repository, yes. So that means we have the versions basically tell you when the compatibility layer was created. Right? So if you look into the contents, and that's maybe good to show as well what the structure is like. So as soon as you look into a particular version of Easy, you have a compat directory, that's the compat layer. You have a software directory, which is the software layer on top of that. There's the init directory, which has the script that you're sourcing, and then some other scripts that you may not. Yeah, for GPU support, we have stuff in here as well. So that's where the documentation points you to.
Okay, was just wondering how to figure out which init script to run. So ls on the versions folder would show this.
Yeah. For now, that's, yeah. I have an idea where we should make an easy CLI tool where you can do easy init, and if you don't give it a version, it picks the latest version. Or if you don't have easy, it tells you, it seems like it's not there, and points you to the documentation. So something that's a bit more user-friendly. We haven't done that yet, but I think that would be a good idea to make that.
Yeah, just about currently just pasting this init command from some website without knowing, okay, which version can I use?
Yeah.
That's why I was asking, there's a single version which you can find out with the ls command, which mounts this folder or downloads it.
It could be a bit more user-friendly, yeah.
But yeah, it's good to know that this works by just listing the folder.
Yeah, it's just a file system, right? I mean, all these files that are in these directories are not actually on your system yet, but as soon as you access them, CVMFS will pull them in for you. And the contents of the directories are just ls and cat and vim, and you can do everything you want.
Contents of the directories of SQL databases?
Yeah. So there's a lot going on in the background. The actual data is object storage, and there's catalog files and SQLite going in, but you don't, as an end user, you don't really notice that. And this easy CLI tool, I think this should be like pip install easy. You get this, and then you can start using it.
Sorry,
That's my idea to do that. Yeah.
just one comment. If you keep resourcing it again and again, maybe it could be improved that it just sets the PS1 once. Just minor comment.
Ah, okay. Look, you have an idea for a pull request.
Yeah, micro.
So you're saying if you do this again,
And again and again.
yeah, that it does this, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we could be a bit smarter then. But it won't break your environment. It will keep working. It should keep working. Yeah, module. It will have the module part there double. Ah, no, it doesn't. Elmo is smart enough. If you do module use, it sees it's there already, so that's fine. It's just the PS1 is getting a bit, yeah, long. That's a bit stupid. Open an issue for that, or let us know that this is annoying. This was actually a contributed thing. We didn't do this from the start, but somebody was annoyed. Like, how do I know whether Easy is ready or not? Like, okay, yeah, give it a try. Let us know if it's working or not, or if any more questions pop up. I'm happy to show more details.
No, I just want to see it's working.
It's working. If you try it, did you just try it on the VM?
Yeah, on the
Yeah, okay, there it's gonna work because I tested that and everybody has the same VM. If it works there, now we can poke you on your system. Obtainer, or I mean, you don't have. Yeah, you don't have to use or CVMFS exec. You can try that. Yeah, don't do sudo stuff on a production system. Actually, I'm gonna do that this afternoon for the GPU part. Yeah, give it a try. See if it works. Follow the pointers in the documentation. If you hit anything that's not clear, OpenFOAM doesn't. No, but the demo script doesn't work.
You should just send me that it's broken.
The demo.
I even tried to
The
change the
open
versions.
form?
Yeah, it's not the wrong versions. Then
Yeah, yeah,
but
but
even if you
it's
change it, still
in the run, yeah, but it's still, yeah, it's as for the
Ah,
module
okay.
that is not there, but it's also if you go to the 11, it's a different script. There's already a PR open for it. Then you get pretty far, but it still breaks because
It's not our fault. It's OpenFOAM's fault. Yeah. This demo script is specific to that OpenFOAM version, and yeah, they moved stuff. I think the motorbike thing changed.
Different directory than
Oh.
That's the reason why the OpenFOAM Foundation's software is.
Yeah.
They changed everything every release.
If you have more ideas for demos, just if you want to check or if you want to fix the OpenFOAM one. If you have other example cases that we could use as a demo, maybe for your the motorbike thing is not in the other variant, I think. The motorbike tutorial case that they have in these versions.
Yeah, I try to use like there's the one for the cavity flow one that's very simple, runs very fast.
Yeah. So you also have an idea for a pull request. Yeah. No, but if I mean in the end, and we'll get to the test suite this afternoon as well. But what we want to do is we want to keep an eye on these things and make sure they keep working as well. Because sometimes we do install updates in the compat layer, for example, security updates. And the more tests we have for the more software, the more confident we are that we didn't break anything.
Sorry.
There's
no idea.
not there.
I mean, if you can run reframe tests, shouldn't the demos somehow get hooked into?
The demos
Good.
were there long before we
What the
even
re-
started working on the test suite, so they've
But-
bit rotted essentially. The demos
That
were
was
created
created,
for the
yeah.
easy pilot, so that actually still works. That should still work. Let's see. So if I source, I have to check the structure, but the documentation tells you don't use the pilot repo, but it actually still works. We're not maintaining it. We're not adding software to that, and I think this 2112 version is the best one we have. So there, it's very similar. You can source this. And here, if you then go to the demos, let's see, module. So this OpenFOAM version is there, and this should still work.
it never worked, but it works pretty good. It works
It-
pretty good. It
it-
does a lot of stuff, but it doesn't.
It doesn't do the correct stuff, but it does run. Yeah. So we haven't touched this in months. It's just sitting there and it does still work. It's doing something, but it's not doing something useful. Yeah, this is time steps, but the grid part that it does is not correct. It's just basically skipping that and then doing a very small simulation. But it does run. So as long as you're using the right version.
But it doesn't, because Satish is now working on adding it, so he doesn't
Yeah.
have to do it. Does he have to do it?
I'm using the pilot repo here. We shouldn't be using the pilot repo for anything. Yeah, we should still fix it in the demo. Or at the very least, we should update the demo script that it says, you're not using the pilot, this is not going to work. Yeah, it should be made aware that it's... We can be smarter in the demo scripts. Yeah. Also, Gromax here with the pilot repo also works. It downloads an input file and kicks off Gromax. Yeah. So comparing this to even with EasyBuild installing stuff, is like this is a dream, right? It just starts running straight away.
Can you show how to run the reframe test?
I'll show this afternoon. Yeah,
This afternoon.
because I need to practice a bit first. And I help with the test suite. Actually, maybe Lara should be doing the demo because you have more hands-on experience with it. But we will cover that briefly this afternoon. Okay, I guess we'll wrap up the recording and we can keep the Zoom on, but the recording is not going to be very useful.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
So I've stopped. No, I'm about to stop the recording, or do you want to keep it going? Yeah, a few seconds. Give it the mic. Are you going to try and give me the share? Oh, you should just have that. You'll be sure. I think it's unless I haven't given it.
Let's take the whole desktop and then load this up. Yeah. Crap, wrong window. I want this one.
Make it a bit bigger. And come here.
Yeah. Just need to swap around. The thing I mentioned yesterday about using Easy already. Here I have already, I made a hard-coded version of the Easy Extend module because I was lazy. So basically what I have done here is already set that up. So if I do ML Whale, I will see. Oh yeah, sorry. Let's do this first. You get too much. What I have already installed in my stack, this is the HMNS module tree of the Easy Stack plus our extensions. So here you have the intercompilers, for instance, and you also have the reframe from the Easy Stack. And actually, I have an extend module there. Wow.
So this is like a mix of stuff we actually have in Easy,
Yes.
which with stuff you only have locally.
Yeah.
And you
So
can barely tell. That.
Yeah. So if you do show reframe, you will see that the path to this reframe is in the Easy Stack. But if I do this, you can see it goes into
This host injections.
the host injection path.
Yeah, I'll explain this afternoon what this actually does, but this is basically a symlink to a location you control.
Yeah. So there you see it's going into the host injection, and if I'm trying to do that, it points into our CVMFS tree.
Yeah.
And so I have the IC.
To some extent, this is actually confusing to users as well, because if they now start using the Intel compilers because it's in Easy and they go somewhere else, it's not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I needed to build stuff with Intel.
Yeah, it does
So,
work. You can
yeah.
you can.
I have some other things installed here too, but I can't remember what they are. Like the 2022B Hoste toolchain.
Yeah.
And some other things.
So
But so it actually all I do, which the EC extend module will do in a better way, is source it, set up the site module path to where it should be, and set up the user module path to my home tree. So I have both the site installed stuff and my own installations and my personal installations on top of this, and I can access all of it.
And
So-
that's actually somewhat what we're going for. So we see Easy as a common software stack, but we'll make it very easy that you can install stuff on top or on the side as well and just mix and match. We will never be able to provide everything that people want. Like commercial software is definitely going to be a problem, but you can mix it in, as Oke is showing, quite easily and on your site. So with a bit of homework, you can have a uniform looking thing. Yeah.
As you can see here, this init script I'm using uses the EasyBuild M&S.
Yeah,
module.
that's why I'm
But
asking. So
that's
can
because
change it.
I wanted to use that when I do when I was using this when I was testing, but my model path is pointing down to the hierarchical module tree that I built on top of the EasyStack plus our installation. That's why I only see the core modules.
okay.
So I can technically swap by just replacing that module path again. But
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
the problem here is getting the hierarchical module tree working with both site and project and user installations. That's a little bit more work. But the new upcoming, the current version of the Easy Extend module PR deals with site installation, project installations, and user installations. And you can select paths for all of this. You just need that module loaded to get the module path set. But to get HMNS modules into this, we're going to need a bit more work.
Yeah. But yeah, so Oke is basically doing something already that we want to support in the end and have properly documented, where currently we only have one module naming scheme in Easy, but we'll actually have multiple ones side by side, because you only give a different view on the software. You don't have to reinstall the software at all to give it in a hierarchical organization as well. I will make it very clear that if you want to generate your own module tree for Easy, how you can do that. Maybe you want to filter stuff, only show certain things. You use lowercase, I don't know, turn the hierarchy upside down. I don't really care what you want to do, but that will be very easy. And EasyBuild will generate all those modules just in a different structure. Yeah. So you'll have control over how Easy or what from Easy is exposed to users. Yeah. That's definitely the plan. Yeah.
No, I didn't have it once. Yeah. Anyway, so it's doable, but a little bit more work is needed. Thank you. To get everything in place.
I guess we'll wrap up the recording and the YouTube stream here. We'll keep the Zoom on. We may still do a demo or answer some questions. We'll see.